Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. Well, I have actress, singer, all-around blonde delight, AJ Michalka, and she's real busy. She's coming from all these different shows, and she's able to do ours. But you, not talking about me, but you just gave me a huge compliment. What did you say when you walked in here?
I said congratulations on becoming a judge on Project Runway, which is not real.
Oh my God. Thank you. So, for those of you who follow me on Instagram and you guys listen and you know I went to BravoCon. So, BravoCon had these amazing photo sessions available to anybody to do. I mean, there was a little bit of a line, but they spent probably 7 to 8 minutes on each person, doing 3 different shoots. So it looked so real that I said that, but I just assumed everyone has seen other people that have gone to BravoCon, but I loved that people, because I saw a couple other people congrats and I figured they was joking too, but maybe people actually think that I would love to be a judge on Project Runway, and I'd love to be a judge on any kind of food show possible.
Really?
I love to eat
food. I
food.
Love that. I love food
Have
too,
you done
but I don't think I'd be a great judge. No, I've never done... Let's see, I'm trying to think if I've ever been a part of a Food Network show. I feel like I did guest star with my sister on Cupcake Wars, and we failed miserably.
So
we were
make
contestants. We had to make the cupcakes. We actually got kicked out at the beginning of the show. We were the first ones out.
So was that just a one episode thing?
It was a one episode thing. But I've never done a judging of something. I think it'd be interesting to do one of those singing competitions, or I don't think it would be food for me. I think it would be like based on music or sketch comedy or something like that.
So right now you're on the show School.
Yes.
Which is the spinoff of the Goldbergs.
Yep.
Are you your second or third season? Second season.
Yeah.
And because your character was the girlfriend
of Barry,
the older brother.
Yes.
Right. And
exactly.
So then they kind of because I remember the first time we saw the episode, because my kids watch it, and they're like, how is this isn't even about the Goldbergs. I'm like, no, this is old school spinoff of a successful sitcom. This used to happen all the time when I was younger.
Right.
Where they would do spinoffs
Totally.
Laverne and
I love
Shirley
that your kids were like, what? We don't
Mork
get
and
this.
Mindy were spinoffs of Happy Days. Yeah, they're where is the rest of the family? I'm like, no, this is...
Well,
so, yeah.
Every now and then the family appears, but it's true. They really are their own thing. It's just that Goldbergs, really worked and became very successful really fast. And I think there was an opportunity for Adam to spin this off into something else 10 years later in the 90s. So it gives it a new era. And also bring back a lot of the people that you remember from the Goldbergs into this world of William Penn. So as opposed to being about the family, it's about the teachers that work at the school. So my character comes back. I'm a failed musician. I've broken up with Barry. We were engaged at one point. I leave him at the altar. Cut to 10 years later. I'm struggling for a job. Beverly helps me get a job at William Penn. I become the music teacher there.
Right.
And I fall in love with the gig. I love my students. And I end up working with Coach Meller and Glasgow.
Which is Brian
and
Callen.
Ball.
He's
Exactly.
so funny. And
I love.
In his tiny shorts.
His tiny shorts that just seem to get tinier because his legs get bigger.
Well, I think he likes it.
He loves it.
He loves it.
The bigger his legs get, the smaller the shorts get, and he loves it.
So now you guys, you have a sister, and you really kind of came up as a child star in the Disney World. Can you kind of just tell us about all of that, how it all began? Where did you grow up? What
how
city?
It all began. Okay, so we were born in Torrance, California.
Okay.
My dad's a native. He went to USC, graduated there.
Oh, thank you. So did I.
Oh, right on. Cool.
And so how much did his parents pay to get him in?
Just kidding. Great question. Don't know. I should ask
They
him.
no one had to pay back then.
Oh, no one had to pay back then?
No. People just got in. It wasn't that
That's incredible. It's amazing. That's how it should be now.
I know.
That's sad. Anyway, my mom went to UCLA. They both happened to meet through a
Was that ever an issue during the football season that you had that they were a mixed marriage?
So many people have asked that. Never an issue, actually.
Oh, really?
Believe it or not. No, and my mom cheered for UCLA.
USC and UCLA were playing football.
Oh, you're saying who would I cheer for?
At your house
SC.
growing up.
SC.
Oh, you would?
Yeah, Trojans.
And then,
but if I could choose any team, it'd be the Patriots.
No, okay.
Zero connection to New England.
Right. Okay,
just
but I'm just saying, but that wasn't weird.
No, not at all. No, my parents were not. They weren't committed enough to the world of football.
I would never care either.
No.
Okay, so you guys grew up.
Born in Torrance.
And is your sister older or younger than you?
She's older, 2 years older. It's just us.
Okay.
So we lived in Seattle for 7 years as kids because my mom had a lot of family out there and wanted us to be raised with family. And during that time, my sister and I, at the age of 8 and 10, found a flyer on my mom's desk in a pile of junk. that was promoting this workshop called Northwest Studios. And basically my sister and I saw this and we were like, what is this flyer? And it represented this like acting workshop that you could take for like 3 weeks. And at the end of the workshop, a bunch of agents from LA come down.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
And they scout. Now, of course, my mom was like, this is not real. This is junk. I'm trashing all of this. And my sister and I, no joke, we saw this piece of paper and we were like, Mom, we want to do this. And she was like, are you kidding me? And we're like, no. Like, this is what we've been, like, practicing for in our bedrooms for the past 2 years. Like, we're ready to, like, take this all the way. Thinking it could, like, really be legitimate.
And what were you practicing? Singing?
Singing, acting, dance was involved a little bit.
And were you guys best friends?
Best friends. We did everything together.
Did you
Role
share?
play was, like, our
shared
biggest
a room?
thing. We shared a room for a bit, and then we ended up getting separate rooms when we moved to LA.
Oh, but as little kids,
But as kids, we shared a room.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
you
for
convinced
us,
her?
for us, we were like, oh, Allie and I have been role playing for years in our bedroom, so of course we can be an actor. Like thinking it would be like this thing, right?
Right.
And so my mom was like, I think this is an absolute joke, but if this is something you want to do, sure. Who am I to stand in your way? So we ended up enrolling ourselves into this workshop.
Now, was it expensive?
I don't recall it being expensive.
Okay.
But it was way more legitimate than my parents like gave it credit for.
Okay.
So like Judy Savage came down and Bonnie Likey and like
And
all these
Ben
agents.
Savage's mom, who was a big child agent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who became our agent. So literally she was our agent for probably 5, 6, 7 years when we were managed by Linda Goodfriend for 10 years when we moved back to LA after Seattle.
So when you're
So
in
we got
Seattle,
a legitimate manager, a legitimate agent.
And so when you're in Seattle and you have real representation, how soon after getting real representation and being in Seattle, and how old are you guys?
At this point, when we moved back to California and actually pursued the whole like interest of Judy Savage, we would have been 11 and 13.
And is that why you guys moved back?
No, we moved back because my mom's parents passed away. Really, pretty much one after the other, and my mom didn't feel like there was much need to stay in Seattle. But also, my dad felt like I'm commuting. Oh my gosh, there's so much I'm skipping. So my dad he's a commercial contractor, and he's had his own business in California for 35 years. He was commuting once a week from Torrance, California to Seattle.
Okay.
So he was so sick of that, and by the time my mom had lost both her parents, it was like there's no reason to stay in Seattle. So all of us moved back to California, and then grew up in the Valley.
Oh, we're in the Valley.
Calabasas. That was
great.
Westlake.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So then you're like, okay, well, I guess now we're not too far from getting auditions. We'll pursue the Judy, is it her?
Exactly,
Judy
Judy
Savage management company. Okay,
Yes.
So
then she represented us as actors. We met with her. She was like, I fell in love with you guys in Seattle. I had no idea you'd ever come out to Los Angeles. Here you are. And she signed us both. And we were with her for, like I said, probably 6, 7 years. And our careers kind of took off from there. I ended up booking a major network comedy on Fox called Oliver Bean as a young kid. And then at the same time, I was doing a really, like, intense drama. I was the only kid called The Guardian on CBS. So I was doing those 2 shows. And then my sister landed, like, a lead on a Disney Channel show called Phil of the Future, which kickstarted the Disney career.
And did you guys ever go out for the same part?
For years, we went out for the same roles.
Was that weird?
If it was something that I was like obsessed with, I made that really clear to Allie, and she did the same. So like we would no joke.
She'd still go, but fuck up the lines.
No, the other one would just be like, I'm out. Like if this is the one you want, like I won't go out for it. And that like started this really kind of incredible, trustworthy like relationship between Allie and I that never became competitive, and to this day isn't. Now we don't even audition for the same roles. We're 2 years apart. We look similar, but like she's a brunette now. We both do different things. I'm more in the comedy space. She was on iZombie for 5 years. So like we're both doing different things. I can imagine every now and then we'd get called in for the same thing, but it doesn't happen nearly as much as it used to.
And so, okay, so then tell me, so you were doing that and then she got into the Disney world.
First.
And is that when then you guys started doing music together for Disney?
Yeah, it's weird, we had already formed this like unofficial band when we were living in Seattle, but we never took it seriously as like this is going to be a career thing. We just knew it was something we loved. So we started playing guitar and piano at the age of like 11 and 13, and that's when we started writing songs. And so we had a couple songs in our back pocket, and when Allie started doing Phil the Future, they found out she could sing, and they started writing a couple episodes where it involved a talent show. And so my sister was like, well, I have a song that's an original song that I've written with my sister that I'd like featured in the episode. Would you guys want to listen to it? And the producers were like, well, we were just thinking of like licensing a song, but sure, we'll listen. And it was this song called Protecting Me, which was the first song we ever wrote. And it was about our parents protecting us. And how we felt really protected by them as kids.
Can you sing the little, like, refrain?
I haven't sang this in so long. It's on our first record. So it's like, whenever, wherever, baby, you'll protect me no matter what. I don't know why we're calling our parents baby, but through the night and all the time, you'll never let me go, 'cause you're protecting me. It was like that. It was like an R&B, like pop. It was really cute.
And you're just like writing these songs in your bedroom?
Yeah, on acoustic guitar.
You played guitar too?
Yeah.
Did you take guitar lessons or you learned on your own?
No, we took guitar lessons. So our first guitar teacher was this guy Carlos, who we learned really all of our kind of the foundations of our songwriting from. And we ended up writing a song called No One that became like a really big ballad on like a Disney motion picture called Ice Princess. It was like the opening theme title for that.
And writing these original songs and having Disney license it or whatever, were they paying you well, or you didn't really know what good pay was and you were just like, can't believe you want our song, of course?
Honestly didn't know what good pay would have been at that age, but I have to say, like, my parents were extremely smart about structuring a team around Allie and I so that they didn't have to be the parents that were the people that had to be negotiating. Because I think there are a lot of parents that manage their kids throughout the industry, and at a certain age, it's like, how do you kind of let go of the fact that you're a parent and not my manager? And my parents were really smart about making sure, like, we had a great attorney, we had a great business manager at a young age. And so once Hollywood Records, once that became real and once we got signed, we didn't get like screwed over because the deal took like a year to close. Like we weren't kids that it wasn't like sign it, let's do it, we're desperate to get in.
And would you witness people who, with their parent manager, where like now we're watching Family Boot Camp. I don't know if you've seen it.
No, sounds scary.
It's Aaron Carter and his mother, okay? And he's very, very, I mean, he's really fucked up right now, but he's very resentful of his mom being his manager.
Yeah.
And I talked about this with another child star that's an actress now, a Hallmark star, Nikki. And I said, but at one moment when I'm watching this like TV show, the mom is like, well, I thought, I was doing the right thing by it being me and not other people. And it's like, I think that's just such a hard position for a parent to be in.
I agree.
Because your parents could also have hired people that they thought were great, and then were child molesters. Totally. And yet you'd be in a completely different place today. And then you might have been like, why didn't you just do it yourself? Well, gee, who knows? Like I
couldn't agree more. Yeah. I think when your kids are young and the parents are the ones that have to kind of enforce structure and surround you with a team that is going to be knowledgeable and discerning, it's almost, I don't want to say it's a lose-lose, but it almost could be. Like you almost can't do it right. It's like your kid at some point is going to be resentful of what happened. I don't know how my parents did it, but I have to say, like, my sister and I turned out normal, didn't get ripped off from some skeezy dude. Like, we really, at the end of the day, got super, super lucky. And I think the number one thing is like discernment. But not every parent's going to have that. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. You're right. You could easily hire the wrong dude.
You came from a stable home on top of it.
Very much
I think sometimes in these stories, either it was a single parent, or because of the kids' rocket to stardom, that kind of was the demise of the marriage, or there's then that's going on, and so I think you are really lucky, in fact, and then the fact that you weren't in it alone.
Right.
Like one of the things when I was talking
couldn't agree more with that.
Nikki about this, Nikki Deloach, because she was in that world of like the Mickey Mouse Club. And she was like, well, with Justin Timberlake, when he was going through his success, they had their brothers. There was 5 of them. Brittany was on her own. And it's like, even in your case, you had you weren't alone, but you had your best friend who was your sister.
Right.
Like that is so great.
It's incredible. And I also feel like it's rare.
Yeah.
Like most of these kids are going about this on their own.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like having my sister, being as close as we are, being 2 years apart, doing everything together, music, acting, whatever it may be, and having passions outside of the industry that aren't like a profession, like horseback riding, dance classes, even just taking piano, like not knowing this is going to be a professional music career, but just having passions and being able to be guided by parents that see that passion and say, cool, we'll enroll you in a class. Like, sure, if that's what you want to do. My sister was like into sewing for 2 years. Like, you have to have normalcy scattered within, or else being just focused on like, this is all I'm going to do for the rest of my life, I think it's incredibly unhealthy at a young age.
Yes.
Like, it shouldn't be all about audition, get there and book the job. It should be about what happens in between, whether that's going to church, going to camp, going to whatever. My sister and I had a really normal life. And I think it was the scattering of Seattle and then coming back to California, and not coming back here for the industry, but coming back here for family.
And do you think by having Ben Savage's mom, being that he's extremely normal today.
And so is Fred. Like, extremely normal.
Right. That, that obviously she knew what she was doing.
Totally.
At a level that, was beneficial to her own children as well.
100%. But again, it's like a crapshoot. It's like, this Judy Savage lady loves us and, like, found us in Seattle, and now we're back in LA and she's going to sign us. She's great. It's like, she could have been a monster. Like, we don't know. Yeah. Like, it could have gone horribly. Like, I'm telling you, it was totally like... I don't know. I think it was God. Like, it was the grace of God and good parents and discernment and knowledge, because otherwise it could have gone the way opposite direction.
And so when you got into the Disney world of music and stuff, what was that like to like go to a mall at 15 where every kid at the mall was watching the Disney show and did know you guys? Was it like you couldn't do it, or you loved it, or was it weird? Did your friends get jealous?
I don't really recall having friends that got jealous. I mean, I definitely
recall... Did you have
recall...
friends?
Yeah, we did. We actually, can you believe that? I mean, my sister and I, honestly, we did everything together. So we were like each other's everything for like 3-4 years, because that's when we were on the road. That's when we were making records. We didn't really see a lot of friends outside of what we did, which that sounds like, well, that's the opposite of normalcy. But that was kind of all we were given at that time.
Yes.
It's like, all right, enjoy each other. You're on this ride together. Go live it.
Yeah.
But I do remember having friends that, like, I grew up with that, like, I didn't see for years that came out of the woodwork. Like, that definitely happened. I don't remember experiencing, like, jealousy. I mean, I do feel like Allie and I, from the ages of, like, 14, 15, 16, 17, there was a period of time where it was like, if you're not in the mood to say hi to people, don't go to the mall, because it's going to be insane. Like, I do remember that. And you have to make those choices, like, if it's not worth it for me to experience that right now, and I'm going to come off as a bitch, or I'm going to be unhappy, or I'm going to have an attitude, don't expose yourself to that, because you're probably not going to be, like, the best form of yourself.
Yeah, if you're not going to be a delight...
Don't probably skip it.
Yeah, because you don't have the luxury to not be a delight.
No. So that, I do remember that period of time. And that was really when Phil the Future had really hit. Our first record, Into the Rush, had come out. Hollywood Records had signed us.
Were you like in the Teen Beat magazines and 17 and all that?
J14, Pop Beat, whatever they're called. All those, like, rag mags for teens that, like, used to have Justin on the cover. It was like Allie and I,
And did
Jonas,
you have
Smiley.
those little boyfriends? Did you have star boyfriends too?
We had star boyfriends. I don't feel like... I'm trying to think who Allie dated that was like... Allie had a moment where it was like, she dated like a famous athlete at one point, and then I remember I dated like a pop star at one point. She at this point was like out of high school.
Okay.
But I do remember there was a time where like that was all we were meeting, was people that were also in the industry. So whether they were a famous athlete, or they were also a pop star, or they were an actor, that's who you were going to probably be set up with. Yeah. And so that's kind of all we knew for a second. But eventually we got out of that. She married like a super normal dude who is in the industry, but he's a director.
How old was she when she got married?
She was 20... Wait, she's 30 now? 25?
And were you the maid of honor?
Yeah.
And are you married?
No.
Okay, so when did you date Joe Jonas? That's juicy.
Oh my gosh. I was probably... we were on tour together, and I was 15, so we started dating. How did you choose
of the three? How did you choose him to date?
He had the best personality by far. I'm telling you, I had no idea who these guys were. Like, they opened for Allie and I. They hadn't broken yet.
Oh, they opened for you guys?
Yeah. So we did, like, a winter tour together for, like, a month and a half.
Yeah.
And they had just released, like, an EP, I think, on Columbia. And they hadn't broken yet. It was 3 dudes. They all seemed super sweet, Christian background, like, got to know the parents, got to know them. They opened for Allie and I.
Was this when they were wearing the purity rings, right?
Yes, this was, like, early.
So did you wear a purity ring?
Yeah, Allie and I had purity rings.
Oh,
yeah.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
we didn't talk about it, though.
And
we didn't make it a
Was
thing.
that part of your church, like, today's the purity ring mass or whatever?
No, that was more part of, like parenting. Like, that was something my parents felt really strongly about. Like, they took us to dinner when we became women. Like, it was like, we're going to give you these.
I mean, look, I was a virgin until I'm 27, so I'm not being a judgy person.
No, I don't feel judgment.
I was Catholic, but we didn't do a purity ring thing. So I'm curious to know, does that work, like, within your church? Was that something, like, in my church, people get confirmed at 16. That means you confirm that you're going to be a Catholic for the rest of your life. Doesn't really, not everybody does it.
Right.
It's not like my son's not doing
That's
it.
That's honestly kind of the equivalent for us.
Okay,
like, you
so
become
that's
a
what
woman,
I'm asking.
You become a woman,
and that's
it's like
just that's just your Christian local church that they did that. Okay.
It's like purity rings are like that's something that not everyone's gonna do, but like my parents were like, we would like to at least talk about this idea.
And what is it? Just a gold band on your ring finger? Or
yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it's like this is representative. This is representing you, like, saving yourself till marriage, and really understanding that, like, you want to find the right guy before you actually go all the way.
Well, I think that's good.
Yeah, I think it's really good.
Important to I think everyone should take those steps and be open and talk to their kids about that stuff.
Yeah.
In the realm of, it's about respecting yourself and doing what's right for yourself and being a friend to yourself. And if that takes you till marriage, then great. If it takes you till 25, if it takes you till the first time you're in love at 19, like, it's about kind of protecting your own self-esteem for future relationships. Because if you have a shitty one to start, that's what I always think. Like, even with my daughter, like, her first boyfriend, they're not together, but when she told me they broke up, I was like, oh, I'm kind of sad. Like, I kind of liked him. This is weird. This is a weird part of my life. But then I was like, but this is so good because your first experience was a really nice guy.
Yeah.
That, like, treated you right.
Yeah.
So now that's the gold standard.
100%.
And it's like, if your first boyfriend was awful and he cheated on you in high school.
And that's who you end up with first. That's your standard you've started with.
Right. So it's like, I think if you start what your parents were doing, no matter how or what anybody, I think that's an important thing. That's the most important thing of all of this.
I agree. To plant the seed to, like, protect yourself and understand that, like, the first relationship you jump into, it doesn't need to go all the way.
Right.
Understand where you want that to start for yourself. If it means the second guy, maybe it means the second guy. If it means the third guy, if it means till marriage, maybe it means that.
But yeah, it's in choosing
I think
a
it's good
person
to
that
instill
treats you
that
right
early, and then from there you figure it out and you make your own decision as an adult.
Yeah. Because it can be such a pattern with someone if their first boyfriend was bad.
And we never really talked about it. Like, we never like this is the first time I've really ever talked about it. Like, we didn't give interviews where we talked about it. Like, I remember there was, I think, a press conference where Jessica Simpson admitted she was a virgin, or maybe it was Britney Spears, and it's like people just unleashed, and it's like, save yourself from that. Like, maybe it's no one's business.
And you know what, I think,
you just wear a ring there.
I think back then, and it wasn't even that long ago.
Yeah.
It was really weird how obsessed people were because you guys were underage.
Yeah.
It's really inappropriate, actually.
Yeah, it is. It's weird. It's very weird. People really cared about that. And it's
made such a big deal about it. And I mean, and it's like, no.
Like, people made a huge deal about it with the Jonas Brothers, and I felt horrible for them. I was like, these guys are getting, like, berated for, like, wearing these purity rings. Like, it's no one else's business. Like, these are three, like, sweet dudes from New Jersey, and they were really young at the time. And if that's their prerogative, that's their prerogative.
And can I just tell you how much I love their new music and so excited that they're back. Same. And I love, were they on that? There was a show, and I think either they were on one episode, or I think they were just on one episode. But I actually talked about it in the show. Did you see that songwriting show? Mm-mm. Oh my God, it's like a songwriting competition. I don't know if it's coming back.
Oh, is this the thing Darren Criss is part of?
I think so. And it's like, so someone comes up, the episode I saw was Jonas Brothers. And they're like, we're going to pick one of tonight's people's song to make our own and put it on our album. So a girl comes out, a guy comes out, and they have their song and they sing it, and they're songwriters. And, like, right there in the room, they're like, oh my God, and then if we set up a da-da, and you're like, oh my God, the way that they just heard that song for the first time.
Cool.
And was able to put these
melody
things
and
together
a lyric,
and then be like, how we could make it our own. And even then they'd be like, well, I actually don't think that line works for them because these guys are all got their girlfriends or wives at home. So if we change the line to, but I'll be missing you every night, then that makes more sense. The songwriter girl's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, the way you take something
that's sweet
to make it for a star was so cool.
Well, yeah, it's one thing to write for yourself and understand your music and where you want to go with it, and then it's another thing to write for someone else. Like, it's cool that they kind of, I haven't seen the show, but that they understood, like, oh, this is where this artist is headed. Yeah. How can I help them inform their music?
And then, like, what's my favorite Jonas song again? What's the Jonas Brothers? I love Dancing in the Living Room song. Love that song. Sing it to me. We'll put it in here.
Dance in the living room.
Oh, yeah. Dance in the living room. Yeah.
Yes. That's a really big single.
Yeah,
it's called something else, though. It's not called that.
It's not called Dance in the Living Room. That's what I call it.
Got it. It's like 80s inspired. Like, there's, like, a horn section.
Yes, everything about it is amazing.
Yeah, I know
the
what you're
best
talking
song ever.
Yeah.
Human. Yes. Yeah.
Human.
It's so good. It's on my, like, Spotify playlist before I go do stand-up.
It's a great song.
I love
agree.
it so much.
It's awesome.
Okay, so that was during your teen years when you guys were on the road. And then you performed at the White House. What was that like, and when was that?
Oh, my gosh.
So who was president?
George Bush.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we...
were the girls there? The daughters?
Yes, the daughters were there.
Oh,
so
really?
Allie and I performed. We got asked to be part of the Easter egg roll.
Okay.
Which happens every year, and there's an artist that gets asked to do the national anthem, and we sang that actually, like, literally out onto the lawn. I mean, in front of George Bush, in front of Laura, in front of the daughters, in front of, like, Secret Security. I mean, it was incredible, and there's actually a really funny story to that. We were told by Secret Security to exit a certain way when we were done with the song, and instead we walked through the double doors that we originally came out.
Now, how old were you when you did this?
Oh my gosh, I'm so bad with timeline. We were probably like 16 and 18.
Okay.
Probably.
Yeah.
So it was like we're going to D.C., we're with our parents, we can't believe it, like we're going to be at the White House singing. And I remember after we finished, we exited the wrong direction, and we actually exited basically into the arms of President Bush coming out to, like, he was going to give a speech at the end of our performance.
Yeah.
And he was walking out, and we walked right into him, and he just gave us this huge bear hug, and we were like, oh my gosh, what the heck?
Yeah.
But we did not, we were not supposed to exit that way. But we did, and that's what happened.
I mean, that's pretty amazing.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I wish it would have been President Obama, but, you know,
yeah.
Okay. That's well, maybe we'll sing there again.
Maybe the next round. Okay, so tell me about your MTV show called Sister Act.
Oh, Sister Act, yeah, okay. All this stuff is like sparking my memory. So we were, at one point, after Into the Rush had released and after Insomniatic had come out, which had
Those are your songs?
Those are the two records that really hit out of Hollywood Records. Like, those were, Potential Breakup Song came off of that, and Like Whoa, and Chemicals React. Like, we had like 3 really strong singles that had come out.
And during those years, like, who are the people that are also at your level and performing? It was the Jonas Brothers and Miley and stuff, right?
Totally. At that time, it was like Miley, Jonas, Allie, and AJ.
Wow.
That was kind of the main. We weren't, I don't think our music ever got to that level, to be honest, but like, we all kind of hit around the same time.
And were you friendly with Miley?
Very much so.
And
we actually performed together for a bit.
Was that like she still had her show or after?
She still had Hannah Montana.
Oh, okay.
So we actually played some shows with her. Do you remember Jonas Brothers opening for her at one point?
Yeah,
like a really big tour where she did like half Miley, half Hannah.
Yes.
So we did dates with her
and
as
wasn't there like a movie you could go see or something? I think I took my stepdaughter to see that movie
I think there was.
in the theater. Yeah.
Yes. You literally could watch the movie that was out at the time and then go see her live as she played both roles. So we opened up for her during that time.
Yeah.
And like I said, Potential had really hit, and Like Whoa had really hit, and MTV was interested in doing like a documentary series on Allie and I. And it was going to be very short-lived. Like, it was like a 2-part thing. It was called Sister Act, and it was going to basically follow Allie and I for a couple weeks living our lives in Calabasas.
Okay.
Writing music, hanging out with our dogs, what we like to do outside of work, and then following us, like, getting our, like, license. Like, I was in the middle of geting my license. Allie had already had it. Like, it was very much...
And during this time, what were some other, like, similar reality shows that were on? Were the Kardashians on, or what was Newlyweds? Were they on?
Newlyweds was on. I don't think Kardashians had started yet. But MTV had definitely already blown up into, like, reality TV.
Right.
Like, it was... Punk'd was on. I know their, like, dating shows had really hit at that point. Like, this was very much in the MTV weeds of reality TV. And they were interested in doing a special on Allie and I. So I think at that point we had been punked. They had done a Super Sweet 16 special on us, where when we turned 16 and 18, they threw us like a giant bash where we like had a party at Ladue and like invited like 100 people and like came in on motorcycles and like 24
And how was it?
followed us.
How did you feel like compared to all the other TV and music you'd done? How was it being just yourself, unscripted, with cameras following around? Was it stressful? Did you enjoy it? Are you, did you forget about them like the second day? Like,
didn't like it.
Really?
No, not our vibe. So the show, I think this is kind of why the show didn't end up actually becoming more of a thing, was because after we had shot for like 6 weeks, we were like, we don't ever want to do reality television. We just didn't. We were just like, this doesn't feel like us. You have to like go back and do another take, but you're like, but that was honest, and now it's going to feel scripted. Like we didn't love the structure of how reality TV was done. So I think we made it very clear that this was only going to be like a 2-part special, and it would follow Allie and I around for a couple weeks, and that would be it. And so it didn't last any longer than that. And maybe if it had, like, we would have blown up into this Keeping Up with the Kardashians vibe. Yes. But I don't think we're that interesting, to be honest. It's like, we're just normal chicks. Like, I don't think there was enough juiciness to our life that would have caused for like an MTV breakout sensation of a show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? The point is,
maybe
it just didn't vibe with you.
Not at all.
It's like when you see them talk about it in their interviews, they do all love it. Even when I first met Courtney, because I met them many years ago, like before I was always in the business, but Chelsea Lately hadn't started, and Chelsea Lately and Kardashian started the same summer, but we were friends, and Courtney had done the Rich Kids Go Camping or something. They go on horses. What was that called?
I don't know.
Rich Kids or something. So it was like, and the way she was like one season and she was on it. And she's like, yeah, all my friends like would die to be on a reality show. She goes, but I just happened to be with my friend who wanted to be on it, and they went on the audition. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, oh, what was it like? She's like, oh my God, they wouldn't let us have our phones. We had to like ride these horses or whatever. And so when the Kardashian show started, I was like, oh, she's not going to really
be into it.
But I think all these years later, they realize, like, now it's almost like more than half their lives. Like, for some of them, now the majority of their life is this.
Yeah, I wonder if they enjoy it or if they've had to learn to, because it took off so heavily that they were like, we have to embrace this. Maybe they really dig it.
Or just I find like, there's no weird. Way. Yeah, there's no way to go back. Like, this is so our life. I don't know, No,
unless you just pulled the plug on your own show and we're just like, we're not renegotiating, we're not coming back for another season. But why would you do that at this point? I mean, I think
and then it's such a blurry line of how much you share that on social media anyway. Like, if you're sharing all that, might as well have the show too, because you're not like
right. Because everything's out there
now.
It's
anyway. Just all really. But then it's also kind of interesting, because then all of a sudden Kylie just shut down when she was pregnant for 8 months.
Yeah,
and it didn't affect her success.
No.
So that's kind of cool.
She was like, I'm just going to disappear for a bit.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to know that, maybe not everybody would have the luxury of doing that, where, oh my God, even now it's like, oh my gosh, if I didn't put a podcast out by a certain day or, post all the time.
You're going to lose all your subscribers.
The momentum. But it's also kind of nice to do that. And musicians do it too. So it's like, it's kind of cool that a reality star can like do that. But, so you just were like, not like you guys wake up and they'd be like, let's put your mic on. And you're like, ugh.
It just didn't feel right. But also we weren't, and I didn't mind doing it for MTV as like a special, but beyond that wouldn't have felt right, because we were also like legitimate actors. And I don't really think you can do both. Like, reality TV, plus like I was on this like really legitimate show with like Dabney Coleman and Simon Baker as a kid. That had ended already, but like I was starting to do films. I was in Secretariat. I was in Super 8.
How did your like...
Allie was like booking Easy. Like, if we had been on reality TV, it's like at some point a casting director or a director is going to be like, we don't understand this.
Yeah.
Why are you? You're not an actor.
But what did your team think? Did some people on the team fear that? That
yes,
you were like,
no one thought we should do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So why did you do it?
I think for Allie and I, no, because there was no money in it. But I think for Allie and I, it was like, this will be fun to do. For us, it was to show who we are as sisters.
Right.
And I don't feel like anyone had really gotten a sense of who we were as sisters. They had heard our records, they had maybe seen us on tour, and they had seen some interviews. And like, there was this perception of who we were on the Disney Channel. And we had done this movie Cowbells, and everyone thought they knew us from that. But like, we had never done anything together, non-scripted, something that really showed this is like 2 weeks, 3 weeks in the life of Allie and AJ, and here's how we are with each other. And it really showed who we were as like sisters.
At that time, did you guys live together or have separate apartments? Okay.
No, we lived together in Calabasas still with our parents.
Oh, still with the parents. Okay. So
that's also what made the show so bizarre. Yeah. Is at that time that wasn't cool. Like Kardashians, you have the parents, you have the kids,
And when that Kardashian started, Kim wasn't living at the house.
Right.
And she even admitted in other interviews, well, you pretend that you're still living at the house,
right.
you know?
Right.
Okay,
whereas
so
Allie and I, no, it's okay. Whereas Allie and I lived, we hadn't moved out yet. Like, we were touring all the time. Home base was, like, still family, Calabasas, like, living in, you know, a beautiful neighborhood, but, like, not on our own. Like, still feeling very suburban kid.
Yeah.
And, like, that also wasn't that, we were young, but that wasn't that sexy to the channel. Like, that's not going to be... The network didn't need that, really, and we didn't really want it, so it worked.
Yeah. And so, so with your sister and you, like, so then once you started doing that, I mean, it is really interesting about the sisters. Did you guys ever fight?
Yeah, all the time. But for us, it was like, our fighting never impacted, like, our creativity together. Like, we might have had a moment where it was like, you stole this outfit, or like, you borrowed my shoes and you haven't asked. Like, really, really.
So that's what it was?
Totally.
Was clothes.
It would either be clothes related, or it would be, or maybe we had the same crush on the same guy, and it was like, well, what are we going to do now? Like, but not anything.
What would happen? Would you dib it? What would you do? Because I lived with my sister for a couple years too. And we were also 2 school grades apart throughout life. And only once, so it was, she had finished law school, and I was, you know, had finished college, and I was pursuing my thing. We lived together in an apartment. And only once did we, like, once there was a guy that I went out with, and we didn't hit off, and then we went out, and he then got her number. And I said, that's weird, and I don't think you should go out with him. And then there was another time where I kind of liked this guy or something, but he liked her, and my friend Tara, I felt like, sort of went behind my back and was setting her up with him. And that was like the only time I ever felt like there was a weird mistrust distance between us, because we were like very similar. Not that we went on the road like you guys, but we shared a room till we were like 12.
Oh, that's
like
sweet.
Those old twin beds.
Yeah.
And then we each had our own room, but we always really got along. We always talked to the phone, and then living together in our 20s was really nice. Much better than living with other roommates.
We ended up living together.
So you leave Calabasas, and where did you guys move?
Laurel Canyon.
Oh, now you're hipping it. Now we're hipping it up. Yeah.
Now we're hipping it up. We're going to the Canyon. We're going to work on some really cool music together. We actually produced and starred in a film together that we shot in our house in Laurel Canyon that literally takes place in that home, like the whole
What's
film.
it called?
It's called Weep Away for Now.
And did you guys write it, or you found the script?
No, Allie, so at the time, she was dating this guy, Stephen Ringer, who has now become her husband.
Okay.
But he wrote it and directed it and DP'd it.
Oh, wow.
And it went to Napa Valley Film Festival. Like, it ended up, it's on iTunes. I'm so proud of this movie. And Allie and I starred in it and produced it and raised all the money and got a bunch of friends involved. It was about our sisterhood, living together in this house and figuring out what to do next with our music career.
Okay.
And just how, at that time, we felt we didn't know where we wanted to go. Like, we felt directionless. We were it was very autobiographical as to, like, us figuring out what we wanted to do with our lives as early 20s and not knowing where we wanted to head. And it took place in this home, and it followed Allie and I getting through this divorce of our parents.
Oh, wait, now your parents got divorced?
Yeah.
When did after how many years did they get divorced?
They were together 25 years, and they got divorced when we were probably 17 and 19.
And were you surprised, or was this something that you guys felt there was trouble for a couple years?
There was trouble for a couple years, yeah. Not surprised. And I think it was the right move for the family, 100%. But there was still
mourning. For the family, which I think is really kind of nice, because when I was at the BravoCon, I don't know if you watch, like, Real Housewives of New Jersey or whatever, but Teresa and her husband are, like, going through something. And the other cast member, Margaret, goes, you know, whatever happens, they're like, people are like, going to stay together or not. And the other cast member, Margaret, goes, you know, whatever happens, they're approaching it as what's best for the family.
Yeah.
And that may not be them being married, but they're still a family.
Right.
And I think that is something that more people, like, you know, if they can, need to embrace. Because it's not the end of a family.
Correct.
It doesn't have to be the end of a family. Correct. You know?
And it's not. I mean, for us, like, we're all still really close. Like, we spend holidays together. Like, my mom's coming for Thanksgiving. My dad's coming for Thanksgiving. It'll be my boyfriend, my brother-in-law, my sister. Like.
And do they have significant others?
They have both been dating, and if they were both still with the people they had been with for a while, they'd probably be bringing them, and it would be fine. There wouldn't be any issue. Right now, they're both single.
Do you think there's ever a chance that they would, like, rekindle it?
I don't.
Mm-hmm.
No, and I don't think they should. I think it's best that they don't. But the good thing is they made the decision, like I said, for the family, and it's never affected us as a unit. Like we're all still really tight. We got really lucky.
Yeah.
It was not always easy, but we've gotten through the hard parts, and now we're in a place where we can do holidays together, and if she wants to bring a boyfriend, she can, and if he wants to bring a girlfriend, he can. And there's no bad blood. I don't always love the people they date necessarily, but but they have a good friendship. Like they call each other if they're struggling. Like it's really.
And do they both still live here in the LA area?
Okay. Yeah, they do. Not like super close. They're not in like the heart of Hollywood. They're not where like Allie and I are necessarily, but they're close.
Now, how far is your sister from your house right now?
So after we both left Laurel Canyon, she got married.
Okay.
And bought a home with her now husband, and I moved off to the west side. So we're now like 45 with traffic away from each other.
And is that too far?
No, now it's good. It's like I'm 28, she's 30, like she's got a family.
Did you guys ever date someone that the other person didn't like?
Yes, that's definitely happened.
And how do you deal with that?
We make it very clear we don't like them. And then, it never works. It doesn't last. It just doesn't. I love who she married.
Right, but
Thank God.
if there's somebody that she dated prior to the husband that you didn't like, was it like she introduced him to you, or right from the start you were like, I don't like him? Like, how often do you like?
Like, when do you insert your opinion heavily?
Yeah.
In my experience, when you're as close as Allie and I are, you have to kind of nip that in the bud right away. Otherwise, if they start getting into something that becomes long term, and you're like, I don't understand this person for you, and truly, I don't feel like this is the right fit. It's not up to the sister, so that sounds really shitty. I know that sounds insane, but I don't think it would ever work. If the sister is not into the guy that the other sister's about to marry, or if that's becoming something really serious, you kind of have to put an end to it.
Did you ever have either one of you?
Like, I made it really clear, and she has too. We've both done it.
But did the boyfriend ever know that you or her, whatever situation, know that their girlfriend's sister doesn't like them, and they try to like ever get between the two of you? Or did those guys just have to bow out? There was no chance they could try to...
I don't feel like it ever got wind to the guy that like the other sibling has a serious problem, because I think there was such embarrassment that my sister would run this relationship that I can't tell you that she's broken us up. Does that make sense? Like, I think it'd be really embarrassing if I was like... If I was like, Allie, I don't think this guy's right for you.
Yes.
I think she would feel like, if I am such a wuss that I have to go to the guy and say, like, my sister's not into this, and he finds out, it's going to look so ridiculous that I can't make my own decisions, that I just need this to trickle out naturally and find a way. So the guy never found out.
Okay, so then he never found it. That's what I was trying to say. Like, was there ever a moment where a guy kind of got wind that you weren't inviting him?
And then has to win you over.
Yeah, and or started to be like, ever even attempt, because they'd be stupid too, but even ever attempt to be like, your sister's acting like a bitch. Your sister's jealous of you. Like, there was never any of that.
Oh, they try to cause beef on the other side.
Try to get in between the two of you.
No, never had that.
Yeah.
Thank God. I think we had good enough taste where we wouldn't end up with guys that would even do that. But that easily could have happened. I mean, I will say I never broke up a relationship that my sister had with a guy, and I don't believe she ever did with me. However, we've each had at least one guy in our lives where Allie and I, at some point in the relationship, pretty early on, sat down with the other sibling and said, I don't think this is the right move for you. As your sister and as your best friend, I don't see this going anywhere good.
Right.
And eventually it ended. Because I don't believe if you're as close as you are, a relationship's going to work if the other sibling is not into it.
Yeah.
I just don't.
So what's your love life?
So basically, I have a lot of power over my sister.
What's your love life now? You're working on Schooled.
Yep.
Loving your life with your own
apartment. Loving my life. I've been with this guy for a little over 2 years, who I absolutely adore. And
what does he do?
He's an actor.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we met at a film festival like 4 years ago.
Oh, that's nice.
He's lovely.
And everyone likes
talented.
him. The whole family likes him.
Family digs him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm not ready to go all the way.
No rush.
No rush.
Yeah.
I'm just living life, working on Schooled. I have a beautiful dog and a house, and I'm really happy. Like, I'm in an area right now in my life where I'm stable at work, feeling like, oh my gosh, I know that like I have a steady income, which is amazing, but also I'm pursuing my music again with my sister, which...
Oh, no, now you're back.
We're back. We got the band back. It took 10 years, but we got back. We just released 2 EPs in the last 2.5 years, so we're touring again. We're releasing
you are?
music. Yeah.
And where are you performing? Like,
so we just did 20 cities last year. We did 40 cities this year.
Oh, wow.
All around the U.S., Vancouver, Toronto as well.
Like how big are venues and stuff?
Like 1,000 seaters.
Oh, that's amazing.
Usually. Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, 850 to 1,000. And then we'll perform, like we'll do festivals or we'll do college dates or we did like 5 European shows and we had never toured in Europe. So we hit Paris, Amsterdam.
And did like her husband come or would you visit you halfway through?
Yeah, he actually runs lighting for us.
Oh, that's nice.
Like he's like kind of in a very weird way like a stage manager of ours. Like he's incredible.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Didn't really mean to be. We very much forced him into that.
Yeah.
He's super talented and we were like, we need lights and we're working right now with like a very small kind of skeleton crew. Like it's still very indie and it's like we're unsigned. We're doing this on our own. And we were like, we need you to like
so you just have someone like book. They like book the venue.
We have an agent who actually like
books it.
Books the
this
tour.
Is what the tickets are and stuff. But then the rest of it is all you putting it together.
We hire who goes out with us. So the guy that'll run front of house, the guy that'll run monitors, the guy that'll run, that'd be our guitar tech, our drummer, our keyboard player. All of that is.
How big is the band?
It's 5 of us on stage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then like I said, my brother-in-law tours with us. He takes photos and video and he does all of the social media stuff. Yeah. I don't think it's his dream gig. We've really forced him into it.
And then when you're traveling around, do you you are in a place as special as Paris or whatever, if you're in like a hokey town, maybe you're going to lay
there. There are some where you're like, this is not that fun, but
yeah, I'll just stay in the hotel room.
Stay in the bus, yeah.
But can you? Oh, you're in a bus.
Yeah. I guess
so
I shouldn't say it's really
hotels.
Skeleton. No, we do. So we have day rooms.
Okay.
So it's actually now that I really talk about them, like even though we're independent artists, like we have a really good like we have a bus.
Is your name like on the bus?
No, we don't do that.
Why not?
I don't know. It feels weird. That was like a big pop star thing in the early 2000s where you put
all the communians are doing it now.
Really?
Well, every comedian wants to be a rock star secretly.
So they all put their
now
face on
like
the tour
they
bus?
get their tour bus and they do the whatever you call it. They wrap it.
They wrap it.
Yeah, the guys, not the girls, but the guys.
I would only do that if there was like a heavy sponsor on the tour. I'd wrap the bus with the sponsor, but I wouldn't put like Allie and AJ. Yeah, I wouldn't put us. Like this is us. Follow us to the next city. I don't want that. But tour bus, that's like our main form of travel. Like we don't do fly dates. And then we have a hotel every city we do. We have a shower, like a day room.
So you perform that.
It's actually really high end touring.
No, I'm asking questions because I'm like really curious. Okay, so you perform that night. You do your whole thing, you get your VIPs, you do your meet and greets, and you immediately pack it up, get on the bus.
And usually midnight or 1 a.m. is the call, like everyone needs to be on.
Get on the bus. Now you drive 6 hours or 7 hours till the next city. And that's where your show is that night.
Yep.
And then there they pull up at like what? Like a Marriott?
Yeah. Usually it would be like a chain. Like a Marriott or a Sheraton.
And you have a day room to go in. Now,
to shower, hair and makeup.
But you're able to sleep on the bus.
Yep.
That's not, okay.
I love sleeping on the bus.
Okay, so you get off and then you take a shower and relax, whatever. And if it's a fun city, maybe you'll go get a cute lunch.
Exactly.
Okay.
If there's time and you're like, I want to have a moment to explore. Like if we're in Austin, we try to have try to pad a day where it's like, or in Nashville. Like if we're in a cool music town, we try to always add on like a day off.
Yeah, or a day in between or something. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's when we'll actually stay at the hotel. We won't sleep on the bus when we're hanging out.
Yeah.
Only if the bus is moving.
Right.
Are we staying on it?
And then does your boyfriend like intermittently fly to the city and then hang out with you for part of the time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I'm like, babe, we're going to be in Seattle next week. Can you, like, get on a plane and meet me in Seattle because I have a lot of friends and family there? He's like, okay, done. So he would meet me on, like, 4 cities and travel in the bus with us. Oh. And then, like, Europe, I was like, I really want you to come to Europe. And he was like, okay, done. I'll be there. So he was my date to Europe, which was really fun. But he also helped, with, like, gear. You know what I mean? Like, we put him to work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
totally.
So it was great. He was like a roadie.
Well, this is awesome.
Thanks.
Everything's worked out for your life really well.
Thank you.
Did you ever see
That's sweet.
Did you ever
I hope it doesn't all go horribly wrong when I hit like 30.
Did you ever see the Lance Bass movie about how all the boy bands got so fucked over?
Mm-mm.
And how they didn't get paid?
No.
I think it was kind of obviously it was before you guys because they're more like in their 40s. But I'm just so glad that like that never happened to you.
No, we never got screwed over. Thank God.
That is so good.
I know. It doesn't give a great story. It's not very juicy. I'm sorry. This is like the unjuicy scoop.
No.
But you don't want that. Like, that's so sad.
No.
You don't want to sit here with someone that's like, my career got destroyed and I lost all my money, and you don't want that. That's negative and sad.
No.
I got really lucky.
No, I mean, I think it's amazing I think it's great to hear of a story that is successful, because I think, Corey Feldman, who he is, he came on my show, and now he's also on the boot camp, and he just constantly is like hammering this message of like, children shouldn't work ever in the business, ever. And I'm like, I just disagree, because I'm like, how, first of all, to tell stories in movies, oftentimes it requires a child. Yes. Not every story can be about people over 25, right. Okay? So you do need child actors to make great movies and stories. And also then, if you do have a child that's really talented in acting and dance or music or whatever, you are hurting their potential lifelong career if you were to say, no, you can't professionally pursue this until you're 18 because Corey Feldman says so. Right. So, but
he's been so burned though that he feels like he has to advocate for that.
His friend died, Corey Haim. So it's like he's coming from that awful world, but in doing it, in talking to him and saying, I'm like, well, things have gotten better in the world. Like, parents are more aware. People are better protecting their kids. I mean, there was a time when, like, in the black and white films, like, those kids got no money at all. Like,
think about before Coogan Account started. Exactly. Or, like, I mean, if you think about even Macaulay Culkin's career, like, there have been people that have, unfortunately, it's sad because their lives in the process have been affected by it for sure. But they've almost started like a movement,
right?
Like
they paved the way. They paved the way.
They were the benchmark.
World. Yeah,
I mean, it's amazing.
And you're the result of that.
100%.
And the people after you are going to be even, like,
I would never say a movie can't. No, but involve like it's like look at mid-90s or Florida Project or
yeah, I mean you have to, and then it's like
there are so many,
and now there's parents that have all now seen the Michael Jackson documentary, right. Whether you want to believe that or not, you've seen it, and it's whether you believe it or not, it's not okay for your child to go spend the night, multiple nights in a hotel room on a different floor than you with a 35-year-old man.
I think that's a no-brainer. Yeah.
Yes, it is, and people are shocked by it, but when you watch that thing, you're like, okay. But the reason this movie is out now is that if some person who's 25 is watching it now, in 8 years, she's a 32-year-old mom with a star child, she's never going to allow that to happen to her kid. Correct. Because she is aware that this happened. Yep. Those people didn't have a reference to that.
You're right.
There was no documentary. There was no scandalous story. They were just like, oh my God, my kid was like dancing in Canada, and then and he liked to imitate Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson saw it, and now he's taking us around the world, and he's the nicest guy in the world, and he's the most beloved artist. Like, oh, isn't this? But I remember as a little kid, like watching that, because his peak was like at when I was around 13, was like when it all, and after that, and he'd always be around with another little kid wearing a white hat, and I remember being like a preteen or a teenager and being like, this is fucking something's weird. This is like a rock star with a hot groupie.
This is weird.
Except instead of it being a 23-year-old hot kid. Girl, this is, and then 6 months later it'd be another little boy.
Right.
Like it's just. So I think that's what's good about today. It's like the more people talk about it, the more people tell their story, it's going to prevent the next person from having to possibly or avoid it or never even go down that path because they're like, no, that's not okay. Yeah. Well, I'm excited. So you have your show is on every Thursday?
Wednesday night.
Oh, every Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday night, 8:30 on ABC, right after the Goldbergs. And we're about to launch like a really great, tomorrow night is Friendsgiving, which will be really fun. Yeah. It's like our big Thanksgiving episode, which is really sweet. But yeah, we're in the middle of season 2, and I'm starting to make a record with my sister. We're starting to make music again. So you got the Goldbergs, you auditioned to play his girlfriend, so you got like a guest role that then grew. Yeah, I never even auditioned, which is weird. The reason why I ended up on the Goldbergs is I already knew Adam Goldberg. So he had known my sister and I for a while. We had actually pitched a comedy together that was centered on Allie and I's lives while he was pitching comedy. Yeah, okay. While he was pitching his Goldbergs life. Oh wow! And ours didn't go. His went. And Goldberg started airing, and when they got picked up for a full order, he was like, hey, we're about to shoot the rest of the season. He emailed me. He was like, I really want you to play this part that we've been like talking about. It's going to be Erica Goldberg's best friend. She's kind of the rebel of the show. She's this really fun character. Her name's Lainey Lewis. Will you come on for a couple episodes? We'll see what happens. So I was like, yeah, totally. I was like, I don't need to audition. I was like, that's awesome.
Oh, how great is that?
That's awesome. So I come on set. I remember my first scene is with Wendy and Haley, who plays Erica and Beverly. And it clicked. Like, everything felt right. Like, I didn't know that this was going to continue, but I was like, this was a really fun show. Like, I loved the show. I was a fan of Adam. I loved the cast. And from there, they just kept bringing me back. There was just like, check your availability. Can AJ recur for 3 more? And then next thing I know, I was heavily recurring season 2 and 3, and then became a regular season 4. So
awesome.
And then, here they are. They're on season 7.
Wait, were you in the episode where they went out to dinner, the hilarious dinner episode?
I'm not in that episode, and it's my favorite episode of the whole series.
No, she had her boyfriend.
She had Sam
She
Lerner
had
there.
the boyfriend. That was the
Jeff Schwartz, the dinner scene, the dinner table episode. Yeah, it's amazing.
There's so many funny
where they go to the restaurant.
But my sons will be like, "Don't be a Goldberg, Mom." Like, when I try to do that, like, there are certain things where, like, she doesn't...
When you pull a Beverly?
Yeah, pull a Beverly, or, like, when they don't, like, there was this one episode where she didn't want them to, like, learn how to cook or do laundry.
Because she wants them to only need her.
Yeah, and it, like, became really obvious and stuff, and that type of stuff is so funny to me.
The show is hilarious.
And I know her, too. We knew each other, and I played her bridesmaid on Reno 911. So it's
you did?
Yeah, so it's just so...
Isn't she great?
Oh, my God, it's the most perfect role for her. It's so great. I'm so glad.
I love her on that show.
How perfect for you. This is really great.
It's a dream. Like, I literally get to work with all my best friends, a stage away from the Goldbergs, the same lot. Like, there's cross cast in each show. So, like, we sometimes get Barry or Wendy or we'll get Troy or Wendy, and then sometimes they'll get me or they'll get Tam or Brian. And it's a family. These 2 shows have really created a huge family.
And the whole idea of how the Goldbergs came about, that at the end of each episode, they have the real video that inspired this episode from when Adam was, 12 or 13 or whatever.
I know.
It is just so incredibly
all of his
clever.
Real footage being used.
Yes.
I know, it's crazy. And even like the end of school, like a lot of times now we'll interview like, a teacher will actually come to set from William Penn, whether it's Coach Mallor.
Because that was his high school, yeah.
And he'll have the actor interview the person they're playing. It's really cool.
I
got to meet the real.
Where was William Penn? Where is it supposed to be?
Jenkintown.
Where?
Jenkintown. It's in Philly.
Oh, in Philly.
Right outside of Philly.
I couldn't remember what state they were in.
Or they're in Philly. They're right outside of Pittsburgh. That's what I meant.
So tell everybody like how they can get in touch and follow you and listen to your music, and if you come to town, they can see you.
I think the best way to check out my music would be allieandaj.com.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where all of our tour dates are, and that's where we release all of our music. We have
When do you go out again?
We go out again first week of December. So,
wow.
So tickets are on sale now. It's a West Coast 1-week tour, like a winter tour. So it'll be like
great.
Vegas, San Francisco, San Diego.
How fun.
Yeah, come to a show if you can.
Yes.
Yeah, look up, allieandaj.com, look up dates. And then we've just launched a really cool fan club called Sanctuary where you can get like exclusive music and really cool like behind the scenes stuff. And then Instagram, Allie and AJ, or I am AJ is mine. Just I am AJ.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, girl.
Thanks for having me.
I loved it.
I should come back and do this also with Allie. It would be really fun if you got the scoop on like Allie and I together as sisters. I think that would be really fun.
What if we
should be the next thing.
What if we got her and all she did was just talk about what an awful sister you were? And like
she's just the exact opposite.
Your entire perception was like, no, we never wanted the same parts. We were never jealous.
Totally.
And she's like, let me tell you what happened summer of 2001.
She's like, I sabotaged this audition, and could you imagine? It's just polar opposite.
I called Judy Savage and I said, listen.
You can't sign her.
Yeah, no, you do not say that they need someone 2 years older. Do not send it. It is my part. And you find out all this. And I'm like, yeah.
And I'm like, I found everything out from Juicy Scoop about my real relationship with my sister.
You don't even like me?
You don't even, what? By the way, I'm sorry for, have you guys heard my dog snoring all the time?
He's snoring? I know, I didn't hear.
She's been snoring the entire day.
No, I have not heard her. She's great. He or she?
She.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to just pan down and see her? Or no, will you never use that? You guys are locked off, huh?
No, she can do it. She's a professional.
Look at this. It's precious.
Well,
Are you a dog person? Do you think this is cute?
No, I love the dogs.
Look at this. It's hilarious. If you just want to use this just to cut away.
No, I love your dog. I love a quiet. I love a dog you can like hang out with and carry around. I'm all for it.
So relaxed.
What's your dog's name again?
I love you, honey. Willow.
Willow.
Yeah, I like the movie.
Oh, like your movie that you did. No, wait,
well, that's Weep Away. That was an old street we lived on. That's why it was called that. But
Away.
Willow is the old Val Kilmer, Ron Howard.
Awesome.
Fantasy movies that came out in the 90s.
Thank you, girl.
Thank you so much for having me.